Okay, y'all. This is a sad day to make such a video, but it needs to be done, it needs to be addressed, and it did not have to come to this. So, after I released the video talking to Seji and hearing his reasons for his disappearance, YoungWavy decided to make a video trying to give his opinion on what Seji was saying and how he disagreed with overall how Onsugo decided to do things. I asked Wavy not to do the video. He did it anyway. He dropped the video and I said to him, bro, you were wrong because the information you shared here shows exactly why I told you not to release the video. You didn't have all the facts. You didn't have all the facts and you dropped the video regardless. I asked, may the video be taken down? The bro said no. And I'm like, okay, if you're not gonna take it down, I now have to make a video explaining what you left out, what you messed up with, right? And so here we are right now. But additionally, had a conversation with Wavy earlier where we had a disagreement on the overall vision of what MANAA needs to represent. I approached Wavy when he came back from his 1-year hiatus, right? Not telling anybody either, ghosting everybody, disappearing, and me making a video saying I don't agree with the fact that Wavy left. Y'all can go to my channel and find it, right? I was the one who propped up YoungWavy as the chosen one. I hyped him up. I gave him all the credibility because I knew that, hey, he has all the facts when it comes to how we can navigate in this indie market, especially with his knowledge on the inside. I knew that I didn't know as much as he does, so let me promote the dude, right? But what happens? He disappeared, right? He disappeared, but still having the term MANAA in his bio. So recently, just earlier, we have a disagreement. I said, look, man, the magazine was a cool idea, getting within the general consumer market and so on. It's a nice idea, right? But it's gonna take too long to make them profits, and too long is something I don't have time for, neither does everybody else, right? You can say you can wait that long, but some of us cannot. I said what the magazine has turned into is no longer a true representation of what MANAA needs to represent. It's no longer not. You have brought in people I disagree with being on the magazine. And I came to you as a partner that we're going to represent MANAA together, but now it's being misrepresented because you're bringing people I don't agree with, right? Wavy then tells me it doesn't matter. I shouldn't care who he brings on because it's his magazine, not mine, right? And I said, it's not my magazine, but that terminology, MANAA, is mine. It belongs to me, and it has its roots and definition of what it represents. You bringing on people who don't even care about that. And he said, it doesn't matter if they care or not. So that to me is like, dude, you cannot bring people with opposing ideologies to what I created. It doesn't make any sense. There isn't going to be a sense of synergy. And I definitely was not feeling the synergy. Everything was just was feeling fragmented, right? But regardless, Wavy held on to the fact that I should focus on my own work and stop worrying about who he brings on to represent a movement that they don't even care about, that makes no logical sense. So I asked YoungWavy that, look, if you do not represent the ideas of what MANAA is, based on what I said it is originally, then how in the world, then what are we doing? The answer was, I have my own vision of what MANAA is. And I said, if you have your own vision, then it is not my vision. It is not my vision, and we're no longer in the same team if you have your own vision. Why didn't you tell me this in the beginning? Bro said, I didn't have to tell you. If I never asked, I would have never known that Wavy had a different vision for the magazine all along and the types of people who are to represent it. He then said, you left Onsugo because you didn't agree with how Onsugo was doing things, right? It's why you created Koffee Originals. I never left Onsugo. What I wanted was a different approach to how MANAA is being created, right? But the foundation of what MANAA is, the authenticity of it, the soul food, the color schemes, the visuals, the nostalgic feel, that was the core of MANAA. And Onsugo still upholds the aesthetics and the nostalgic vibes of that. It still upholds that. What it does not uphold is the purist approach of producing MANAA. It does not uphold that. In the video that I did with Seji admitted that we're not doing a publication type company anymore like that, right? We're not focusing on just dishing out books like that. We're not trying to build a massive reader base. What we're doing is making money with our IPs under the MANAA umbrella. We have stories, but we are selling product adjacent to the story. Why? Because Seji discovered that the target market that he has able to reach doesn't necessarily care about the book. They don't care about the book. They care about the product adjacent to the book. So Seji is not wrong in his methodology. He is not wrong in focusing on what others can say is short-term gimmicks. It's what brings in the paper now. Seji and Onsugo are fulfilling a demand in the market they found, right? The market that they discovered in their circumstance is demanding products adjacent to the book. Business-wise, this is the right thing to do. You supply a demand. Wavy creating a video on the premise that Seji is a con artist, Seji is not focusing on growing a reader base, all of that is invalid. When Seji is saying, look, we ain't focusing on the book because there's more returns on products adjacent to the book. How then can you say he's a con artist and wrong, when this is the new business model that Onsugo is going with that is making a return of investment? This is very sad that I'm doing this, man. I didn't want to do it, but it has to be done, right? Before I go into more details as to why I've decided to leave the YoungWavy magazine, let's go into the video itself where YoungWavy is dissecting everything. In the video, Wavy said Muzi was not paid. People were not paid. And I told Wavy when he came back that I haven't been paid in a while because the money that was coming from the website and the magazine, right, was kept by Squarespace. There was a technical issue with Squarespace, right? And I'm not going to get into the detail as to whose fault that is or blah, blah, blah. But ultimately, everybody knew why the money was not coming in. It was held up by Squarespace because of credential issues, all right? They held that money for about 7 months. 7 months. When Wavy came back, I told him that I didn't get paid because of this issue. And I don't know when we're going to get paid because Squarespace still holding the funds. The funds were coming in, but they were being locked away by Squarespace. In October, Squarespace releases the money. All the people who were owed the money, they got paid the money. I was the last person to get paid what I was owed recently, right? I recently got paid what I was owed by Seji, okay? So I didn't disclose that. So for people saying I folded, having Seji on my channel, I didn't challenge him and on this and that. What was there to challenge? What was there to challenge? I got paid, right? He left and I did call him out on the fact that, dude, you leaving cold turkey just isn't right, right? I was greatly disturbed with that. I said that I didn't understand why you're doing music. I was no longer in the loop as to the reason you're doing music is also to fund Ogo. But even if you told me that, I probably was not going to believe it that much, right? But in the end, what I was owed, what everybody else was owed in Onsugo, they got their money. Seji kept his end of the bargain. He didn't steal anyone's money. To call him a con artist is incorrect and wrong. that narrative that I didn't get paid, that narrative that he's a con artist, has made people come to absurd conclusions, right? Y'all saw the comments right there under Wavy's channel and so on. These are ridiculous conclusions based on misinformation. This is why I told Wavy, please don't do this video. He does it. Man, you said this wrong, remove the video. Now I'm not removing it, but I can't say I made a boo-boo on the fact that you got paid. Well, the damage is done. Secondly, the biggest issue here is the premise of Wavy's argument, right? That Onsugo should have used his business strategy to grow a reader base. And as I said earlier, Onsugo doesn't have to do that, and neither does anybody else have to use YoungWavy's business strategy, focusing on the absurd long-term narrative rooted in one day being successful within the main market. We now know people in the main market. Here's an example right here, is why I had it open in the beginning. People in the main market, the creator of He-Man right now, suffering from dementia and unable to afford the necessary care. This is somebody who's in the main market, right? Stan Lee himself was in the main market, and he was being bamboozled by his handlers, right? His wealth was way more than what he was allowed to have. There is no security by being in the main market. There are no guarantees that you would be taken care of by these corporations. Wavy's ambition to distribute product through Image or Dark Horse, which just went under, or any other big corporation is completely insane to pursue right now, because not only is the whole world under free fall, but we've seen BlackRock, Blackstone, and a bunch of other crazy political affiliated companies buy out these companies and enforce messed up Marxist standards, right? If anybody is going to be allowed to have their IP adapted into something. The examples of this is obviously Invincible itself. Invincible, the animation is completely different really from the original comic book. You can say Robert Kirkman's the one who changed things, but I wonder why he changed it, right? I wonder why. Who adapted Invincible? Amazon, right? If you're gonna rely on Amazon putting you in the mainstream, taking your product and making it into an animation, they are going to tell you that we need more DEI stuff, thus sabotaging your entire vision for your story. How can me or anyone else who loves the story that they're telling sacrifice years and years and years of making short-term profits, right, for the possibility of making long-term profits with a sabotaged and botched version of your IP? There would be no satisfaction in that. I would not be satisfied that I got an anime, I got a movie deal, but they had to put DEI garbage in bloody hell. I wouldn't be happy with that, bro. I would not be happy with that. In the comments of my video, Comic Ken said, hey man, there are people on Patreon making 6 figures because they found their core audience. This is true. Find your core 1,000 and they could sustain you. But in Wavy's belief, he says that's not good enough, and why be locked into 1,000? No one is saying be locked into 1,000 fans. But if you want to live off your work, you can. You can with a startup of 1,000, or you can even have less depending on how much you charge to access to your work. This narrative and belief that you are wasting time, that you are a scammer, that you're useless unless you're in the mainstream market, this is insanity at this point. This is complete insanity, because currently the magazine, YoungWavy magazine, that has been circulating right now on Amazon, over 100 sales. It's not over 100 sales for one issue. It's 100 sales for all 4 issues combined, right? Over 100 sales for all issues combined. How much money is that? It's a dismal amount. Wavy said it's not meant to be profitable right now. The short term is that you make no money, but you work hard. Work hard in this day and age, Nobody wants to work hard right now anymore, bro. We work hard enough, right, to just stay alive. Work hard for a monthly magazine that cannot even buy me lunch. That is insane. That is going to burn people out. It makes no sense. I had proposed that, bro, let's make this magazine bi-monthly, at least. It's going to ease up your workload and the workload of other people. To ask people to work hard every month and pay them cash that isn't enough to buy a sandwich, that's insane, because you're not paying these people per month, you're paying these people quarterly, right? At a quarterly basis, what they earn is less than the price of a sandwich. That's ridiculous. This is going to create burnout. It's not sustainable. And we don't know how many years we need to continue with this business model until we see a massive return, right, from a corporation granting us mercy and giving us a sponsorship so we can be on the same shelves as Image, Marvel, or DC. But that doesn't even matter. My argument that the main market it has no value anymore, because the people who buy things in the main market, right, are hunchbacks. They're zombies. They're people who buy things based on what's trending, what they're told, bro. Invincible's popularity came at the right time. Everybody was under lockdown. Nobody had anything to do. It was the first time everybody was locked in jail, right? So there was a mass consumption of digital media, and so came Invincible. And it was so unique, quote unquote unique, because of how violent it was and because of the twist at the end of the first episode. But in essence, Invincible sucks, right? You had people like The Weeknd retweeting Invincible, saying he's watching it, this is so dope and whatnot. He's literally watching it because he couldn't go have an orgy on the other side of town. He didn't have anything else better to do. And neither did the rest of the world. It was not based on the merit that Invincible is amazing. It was because people were stuck and had no alternatives, you see. But above all else, Invincible was corrupted by Robert Kirkman himself, because Bezos told him, you're gonna put some DEI Marxist trash up in here. Yes, you are. And he did. He complied. So Wavy's dream to put this into the main market so it can be adapted by one of the corporations so that we can all live off of it, maybe in 5, 6, 10 years, this is insanity. This is complete insanity. This is going to make people burn out. You can't work hard every month to be paid at a quarterly basis and wait 10 years for Amazon to have mercy on you. And even if it does, it's going to corrupt your initial vision for your story. So I repeat, Wavy's entire video, the premise that Onsugo's business model is incorrect, they should focus on the reader base. No, they don't have to focus on growing a reader base. They have to focus on what the demand is. The certain aesthetics that Onsugo does, having this urban type aesthetic on their characters and whatnot, they like, this is what we got. This is what we do. Who's interested? And a bunch of people put their hands up. We're interested. But what are you interested in? Are you interested in books, or are you interested in the bells and whistles, keychains, and all that adjacent to the books? What did the customer say? We want the bells and whistles. So what does a good businessman do? He supplies the demand. How is he a scammer for doing that? How is it wrong for doing that? You can say it's short term and whatnot, but in the short term, money is being made with what they like doing, with what they enjoy doing. And that is the point, is it not? That's the point. So going back to what I used to say a long time ago, you need to succeed within the circumstance. That's exactly what Onsugo has done. It has succeeded within the circumstance. Being away for a couple of months and coming back with golden cartridges that sell out in 4 days. And you can say, well, bro, there were only 10 cartridges anyway. Yeah, 10 cartridges sold for $25 each. If people were so mad, people were so upset that Onsugo just dropped the ball, then nobody should have bought those at all. Nobody should have bought those at all. Trying to belittle it and say it was only 10, it doesn't matter. Most people, when they come back and say, hey, I'm back, here's product, it takes a while for people to trust them again and give them their wallet. But in the case of Onsugo, it only took 4 days, right? You can say that business model is not sustainable and so on. It all depends on how you keep doing it, right? Now, I, on a different video, will explain how I am going to be using Onsugo's talents, I suppose, for creating products adjacent to the book itself, right? You're going to see how we're navigating. This direct to consumer type of business model, it is the best one right now. It's the best one because if you're going to be just on Amazon, you're going to be on the bookshelves and whatnot, all these companies need to take a big cut, right? They need to take a big cut, bro. You're going to be selling all this work for this price for who knows how many years. That's going to leave you demoralized and drained. Demoralized and drained. Earning money quarterly through this model, demoralized and drained, bro. But you have to keep working every month, demoralized and drained. So now, let me go into yet more why I'm no longer part of the Wavy magazine. Now, Wavy told me when I brought this to his attention, he said, your problem is that you want to be a dictator. I couldn't believe he said that to me because it's like, do you really want to call me what hunchbacks have called me all these years? You're going to use descriptions like that to me when all these years I thought we were bros, man? All right, fine. He said, your problem is that you want to control everything. You cannot control my magazine. You cannot control who I bring on the magazine. And I said, you're right. And I don't want to control anything, bro. But you see, what I will not allow, what I will not sit by and continue to happen is that you are going to misrepresent what MANAA is. You're going to continue misrepresenting it, and me being in that magazine is me co-signing it. I don't like this. I don't like the fact that you're using MANAA and the spelling that I made up, right? You keep using it, but you're telling me now that you have a different vision for what MANAA is. That means it is not the MANAA I created. It's a MANAA that you are now corrupting, basically. You're corrupting it. If it's not what I said it is, guess what? It's corruption. So what I would like you to do, Wavy, please remove the word MANAA right here in the description box. That's all I asked. I said, if you remove this word, right, in which Wavy magazine will just be classified as American manga, it's all good. We can still be in there. You can bring in whoever you want, man. You can bring in people who hate me and blah, blah. It's okay. You can do whatever you want with the magazine. As long as the word MANAA is not in this description box, right? You now giving this definition over here the way it is, this is rewriting what I said it was. And if people say you're hijacking what Koffee did, that's exactly what it looks like. And then what? I have to be gaslit and be told, just focus on your own work. Is that not gaslighting? That's gaslighting, bro. It was a very simple fix. I said, bro, look, would you rather have me leave with my team and keep the word? Or would you rather keep me and my team and the other people that I can bring on and remove the word? And he said, you'd rather leave. Anybody with a logical brain would say this has always been the setup. The setup was for him to take your stuff from you. How can anyone not conclude that? How could you not? I was told this, by the way, I was told, but I didn't want to believe it. I was like, nah, man, surely it ain't like that. You know, well, here we are. the magazine itself would have stayed the way it is. All the titles would have stayed where it is. He could have brought in more people, whoever he wanted. All I asked was, please do not use the term MANAA in that spelling because it misrepresents the ideas that I created for it. And Wavy then said, well, I'm American and it's my birthright to use this terminology because it's American manga. And I said, no, it's not American manga. American manga is what you get at Antarctic Press, right? If you know what I said MANAA is, then you're not going to say it's American manga now, are you? So he refused to remove the word and decided that he'll remove me and will remove anybody who wants to side with me, right? This is insane. This is insane. And I was like, okay, if you remove me, are you still going to use the term MANAA with that spelling? Yes or no? And he said he will. I will keep using the term MANAA because you don't own it. Just because you came up with it, it doesn't mean anything. You don't control anything. And how funny that the accusation that Seiji is a con artist, a scam artist, using me as a stepping stone, yet Seiji can admit in the public that the founder of MANAA is Koffee. Koffee is the founder. Koffee is the pillar, right? And Onsugo took MANAA and pioneered different ways to monetize MANAA. That's what Onsugo did. But if Seiji is so arrogant, if Seiji is so bad, he's a con artist, he's a thief, he's a liar, he's a crook, why is it that Seiji has the humility to say, Muzi made MANAA? Muzi is the founder of MANAA. Koffee is the founder of MANAA. Why is it that Seiji can say this? The arrogance that Wavy has displayed here towards me, towards the public, unfortunately, it's very disappointing. Some of the comments that were put on his video against that conversation with Seiji was that, bro, you're being arrogant right now and condescending. You're trying to smack down the business model that Onsugo is using that's actually working for them. Who are you to talk down on their business model when your own business model ain't enough to even buy anybody lunch right now? Who are you to say that? Who are you to try and put somebody down with a business model that's actually working? This indie space, man, it's all kinds of jacked up. It's all kinds of jacked up, guys. For so long, I've been known as the boogeyman, the evil guy and whatnot, and I don't give a shit what you think anymore, because I ain't got time to prove anything any further, right? When Wavy left, I was still drawing. I was still talking about MANAA. When Seiji left, I was still drawing. I was still talking about MANAA. So why the heck did Wavy throw a stone against Seiji for leaving? You left too. But the excuse is, well, I didn't create a company where I had people waiting for product for me. It's like now. And I said, look, man, people were waiting for you, right? They were waiting for you to do something. They were looking forward to more of your stuff. You let them down, right? I said all what I said in that video I made when he left. Okay? So now it's like you're going to call Seiji a con artist. You're going to say he left. You're going to say he's making excuses. Well, when this magazine dropped, issue 2 dropped, how long did it take for issue 3 to come out? A while. How long did it take for issue 4 to come out? A while. Issue 5 was supposed to come out this week. It hasn't come out yet. If we're going to say Seiji's full of excuses, is Wavy not full of excuses for not actually releasing the product every month as the title of the magazine says? Monthly Shonen Wavy. When people came against YoungWavy during a live stream I had with peers, making fun that it should be called annual Shonen Wavy instead of monthly because it's taking forever, what was I supposed to say? What did I say? I said, I understand your frustrations, dear customers. You're looking forward to the product. YoungWavy said product is coming soon and it never did. He would say it's coming tomorrow and then it never does. And then you as a consumer, you're going to get upset about that. You're going to lose trust, aren't you? Of course you are. And some of you will feel emboldened enough to clown Wavy and say, yo man, you moving weird. You're moving weird. But guess what? Onsugo for the first year dropped a magazine every month on time. What about that? Are you going to give Onsugo their flowers for dropping the magazine on time for a whole 12 months? No. This thing just started and it's delayed like a month. It's been delayed by a month. And I don't want to hear that, well, Wavy had this to do. I know the back ends, what he had to do, what happened with the job and whatnot. But guess what? The customer don't care. The customer don't care. Do not throw stones when you yourself are guilty of using excuses, the job, the this, the that, the blah, blah, blah. Then guess what? You do what I suggested. Do not make it monthly. Make it bi-monthly. But no. My suggestions consistently disregarded, right? But for whatever reason, people must continue to have the faith that there will be consistent delivery on what day, on what basis. Is this operating on someone's feelings, or is it operating on an actual real schedule? Yes or no? Well, from the outside, it looks like it's operating based on someone's feelings, based on when he can do it. Well, if you can do work when you can, not when you should, then you do not create an expectation that customers are going to receive the product every month. This whole thing, some nigga shit right now. This is nigga shit. Omega nigga shit. Right? And I'm caught in the middle. I'm caught in the middle. Now it looks like I picked a side. But you know what? What I picked was who is most helpful to me right now. And that's Onsugo, right? Who is most respectful to me as the founder of MANAA? It's Onsugo. When Wavy was gone and the hunchbacks were eating me alive, who was defending me in the public? Onsugo. Right? The thumbnail that he used against Malik to make it look like a rabid, insane person. Yeah, Malik's aesthetics are not for everybody. It's hella crazy looking. But guess what? He's a G. He's a G because he defended me, bro. I know his story. I know his come up. Some of the realest nigga stuff, bro. And guess what? He make no excuses. He's paying, Malik in particular, paying all the bills with his MANAA, the way he moves, right? And another key thing was that Wavy does have a problem with the fact that Onsugo's whole movement, in a way, how they move, is like a hustler, right? People shouldn't be hustling the way Seiji and Onsugo dudes are hustling. It should just be the standard route as it used to be 40 years ago. Well, that's not the world we live in. We all gotta hustle now, right? It was only recently that Seiji told me that, yo, bro, I don't have a job like that anymore. I've been hustling, pushing music, pushing MANAA, making returns, paying all the bills with my skills, with things I like doing. That is something worth envying. That is inspirational. Malik, Seiji, they don't need a day job. They don't need to sit under some crazy manager yelling at them to sweep the streets. They can do what they enjoy doing and pay the bills and feed their kids. Is that not enough? According to Wavy, it's not enough. There should be more. There should be more. Well, there is no promise of more by being in the mainstream. There is no promise of that. We saw Japanese people commit suicide because they were not being paid what they're owed. That's the mainstream for you. I covered that story on Patreon. Japanese people killing themselves, right? Because they're not being paid. Japanese people losing their royalties to something they created because the studio said, no, you can go suck one. And then they end up demoralized. This very story, creator of He-Man, is now suffering from an ailment and he can't afford the necessary care. This is what we should work every month for, in order to one day be on the same table as these great IPs whose creators are starving to death right now. Give me a break, bro. Give me a break. I want to show something else here. Here's Kadokawa, right? Here's Kadokawa. Kadokawa decided, another big publisher company, right? It has decided that it's going to publish some AI garbage, right? Kadokawa announced it will publish 2 children's books on the viral Italian brain rot meme phenomenon. The title includes an illustrated encyclopedia featuring over 100 AI-generated characters with names, features, and song lyrics, and so on. The Japanese Kadokawa company has decided to publish brain rot kids books for the Japanese children to be sabotaged in brain development. And you're telling me that there are still standards in these corporations? This new standard is Marxist. The new standard is subversion. The new standard is corruption. And you are telling people that let us work hard, sacrifice 5 years, 10 years of our lives so we can be picked up by corporations who have a standard of corruption, a standard of subversion, and a standard of defilement? What is this? What is this? I created Koffee Originals, the website, because the particular approach to producing MANAA itself, the books, the stories, I wanted a purist approach to producing it. Onsugo recognized that, people don't care about books like that. We can supply this. How can Koffee Originals benefit from that? There's all kinds of ways. If I were to take Orca right now, have a whole volume of Orca, get it printed through Ingram, ship it off to Onsugo, create some crazy packaging, stickers and all that stuff up in there, customize it and package it that is nicely catered to a beloved fan, I could sell that at a premium price. And guess what? The creator of Orca gets a huge payout. Through Onsugo, I could have multiple pre-orders of different MANAAs from this website right here, where if there's 10 people who gonna pre-order Orca with all the goodies that comes with it, the creator of Orca gonna have $300, $500 in his pocket by the end of the month. You're not gonna make $300, $400 by the end of the month with this business model right here. You're not. But you see, the sustainability of how to correctly do this with Onsugo, I'm not explaining it, but I don't have to explain it. I don't have to explain it because it's a business strategy that I don't have to disclose. I don't have to be transparent with the public with this business strategy. But we're going to be, at least to some degree, in the next video. I want people who are working on their stuff to feel like their stuff is being valued. You cannot feel your stuff being valued on this gigantic marketplace. You cannot. Your stuff is buried under trillions of other works that are pushed up by the algorithm because they are DEI adjacent or because they have the right establishment paying money for them to stay relevant. I do not believe anymore, ever again, that going mainstream, there will be any benefit for you. I do not believe that. I do not believe anyone trying to go into Japan has the stamina to work at a Japanese level. You will burn out and crash out within the first 2 months. You can't handle it. Felipe Smith went there, crashed out. You can't handle it. You cannot handle it. But you know what? Let everybody do what they think is right. Let them do what they think is right. You see, in the old days, before there was mass production of things, before there were factories, the carpenter in the village his clientele was everybody in the village, right? Was everybody. If he was the only carpenter, right, who made chairs and tables, well, he had a monopoly in the village, so be it. But let's say there were 4 carpenters in the village, right? And the population of the village was 900 people or 600 people. Well, those 600 people can choose between 4 carpenters in the village. And right there, it was a direct to consumer type market. They go to the carpenter, Mr. John. Hi, Mr. John. I need 2 chairs. I would like them to have these roses and these decorations. And Mr. John will say, no problem. Pay your deposit. I'll have it done in 2 weeks, right? Premium, right? Premium, direct to consumer market, just like that. There was a feeling of, there was a true connection between the producer and the consumer back then, right? There was only one Mr. John. He could make chairs in that particular way that no one else could make it. There was something special about it. That was all before factories and mass production. This Amazon thing, it worked and it was cool back in the day, right? Now they're optimized their quality. Right now it is better off in terms of their quality of things, but it still falls under the mass production thing. And guess what? If you have too many options, you end up being paralyzed. You end up not making a decision. Analysis paralysis. So what I actually like doing now is you find your audience, bro, and you create that product. You make it special so that when the customer receives it, it's like, oh man, no, I could have not gotten a product like this anywhere else. Definitely not in the big marketplace. That's authenticity. That is building a connection. That's building a connection. I will not starve to death because I wanted to go to these brain rot corporations. I'm not, bro. Okay, I'm not gonna do that. Whoever wants to do this, let them do it. We'll see how it works out. But I have to choose a business model that works right now. I am not going to receive money that is less than a sandwich quarterly and wait for a miracle in 10 years. I'm not going to do that. That's demoralizing, and it actually ruins my morale. It ruins my morale. So for me, now it's like, you know what? Let me work on my product, have a whole omnibus done, right? And the omnibuses, I can dish out those omnibuses at a limited edition run per season and customize those things greatly, and everybody can get something special, different, and unique with each omnibus. And I can charge at a premium, right? And currently, let's go to Orca itself right now. Look at this. Orca right now has 800 monthly views. Soon it will reach 1,000. Meaning soon this artist is going to get paid. He's going to get paid $10. He's going to get paid $10, bro. While right here, I'm going to get paid less than $5 by the end of this quarter. What the heck? And the more people join, the less money you make. You can say profit isn't the goal right now. Well, I don't want to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that right now. If that's the case, then let's not work every month. Let us not work every month. No. Nah, y'all. It didn't have to be this way. All I said was, Wavy, please remove this. Just remove this from the description box and we cool, man. We can keep going. No, he's going to keep the term MANAA, even though I'm removed, and he doesn't care that I'm the founder, and yet somehow Seiji is the arrogant con artist that's using me to puff himself up. If YoungWavy does not need the term MANAA in his magazine, why keep it then? Why keep it? This only proves that it's like, bro, when people told me And I ignored it. It told me that you're trying to scam me. You're trying to rob me. You're trying to take this away from me. They told me that, and I didn't listen. I didn't listen. But ever since you brought on some people I don't agree with, and then you telling me you have your own vision for what MANAA is, I'm like, well, don't call it MANAA if you have a different definition of it. And you telling me no? You're telling me I can rather hit the door so that you can keep this term of MANAA the way it's spelt for yourself? Come on, bruh. Come on, man. Everybody gonna see and gonna accuse you of being a thief right now. You're gonna be accused of being a thief. How else? What else is anyone supposed to say? Who's the thief now? Is it Seji or is it you? Who's using who now? Is it Seji or is it you? If you don't need me and if you don't need MANAA, why did you say you will not remove it from the description box? What is people supposed to conclude? You said you don't care what people think. And that's the problem. You don't care what anyone thinks. You don't care what I think. And if you don't care about what people think, even those people in your corner, people you've been speaking to for years, you don't give a shit how they feel, how they think, you're gonna lose people you're working with, bro. You're gonna lose people you're working with. And I know you're going to bring up what you brought up in our conversation. Koffee wants to control everything. It's bigger than the name. You just want control. You just being a dictator. That's a hunchback narrative. If anyone continues to accuse me of wanting to be a dictator, you're a hunchback. Plain and simple. You cannot say I have a different vision and version of what MANAA is, and I want to keep your term and keep the spelling you made and still say, yeah, it's okay. And when I have a problem with it, you're saying I'm being a dictator. That's you being a dictator. You want to take what I created, subvert it, and kick me out and call me a control freak because I had a problem with you subverting what I started. This whole thing is so messed up, man. So messed up. But anyway, y'all, that's it. That's it. This was not supposed to happen. This was not supposed to happen. What a mess. What a mess. But anyway, Koffee Originals is still going to keep pushing product. We release fresh chapters on the All-Star category on the 10th of every month. Right? On the 10th of every month. It's now the 7th in 3 days. There'll be fresh product coming out, right? Some people on the Originals category, they also release on their own unique schedules. So be it. So be it. But when it comes to monetizing monetizing your IP, monetizing your MANAA, do what you want. Do what you want then, man. Right? But I see for me that using the Onsugo model, there is worthwhile returns. Using Onsugo to monetize some MANAA products. It's a good business model. It's a sustainable one. It's a sustainable one. So that's what I'm going to do. I will not stay in Amazon and wait 30 years so that Image can give me a break and then tell me my stuff is not gay enough. I'm not going to do that. People got to get paid right now. We make the sacrifice to draw right now. We choose not to hang out with family and friends most of the time because we have a story to tell. We have something we want to express that cannot be accepted by the general population in our environment. We want to put it pen to paper. We want to get it out there, but we want to get it out to those who want it. Instead of putting it in a marketplace that people can just keep scrolling on by. Unless some oligarch tells them to buy it. Now, forge your own support group, your own tribe, right? Your own tribe who rock with you, they will pay the premium price. If it's worth it, they're gonna pay for it. They won't pay for it. To demonize Onsugo, Seiji, and whatnot, while Wavy himself still has a day job, this is messed up, bro. This is messed up. Malik don't have a day job. His day job is pushing his product, right? Drawing things, catering to the demand, using his skills, his artistic skills to cater to demand that he finds himself in, Seiji included. If Seiji uses music to make more cash, so be it. Seiji didn't quit music, right? He didn't quit. He's still making money from music right now. He trademarked things. He's getting royalties. But was he supposed to disclose all of that? And if so, why? This is precisely why I was like, bro, don't make this video. You don't understand. You don't understand. It's not going to look good for any of us. And now, look at this chaos, bro. Look at all this. Now we all look like we all don't know what we're doing. And I'll add, lastly, to the one guy who commented multiple times on Wavy's thing about, white manga being more successful, Saturday AM doing things right. Bro, I don't know what the heck you're talking about. Saturday has the appearance of doing things right, but you just have to look with both your eyes and see that it's all kinds of jacked. Saturday AM had a gay token artist who left, who said they never got paid in 10 years. So how are they doing anything right? What are you talking about? Koffee Comix brought information to this indie space, right? That was questioning the narratives of these people. Yet when we looked at these people, we questioned their actual success. Is it American dream success or is it circumstantial success? Which one is it? We find out that it's not American dream level success. We find out people not being paid. We find out white manga's assistants not being paid very well. We find out white manga not making money through Apple Sack, but social media gimmicks and whatnot, drawing pictures for Snoop Dogg. And that's okay if white manga was honest about, hey, I'm just an artist for hire. That's my foundation. I draw Apple Black on the side. But no, he posed himself as, I'm a manga artist, creating the biggest shonen in Africa, even though I haven't been to Africa in 10 years. And you made it look like Apple Black is your bread and butter when it's not. When it's not. Misleading people, putting people in a Saturday AM dungeon, right? Trying to take their IPs, saying you support the gay community, and then sabotaging your only gay artist. Sabotaging them, not paying them for 10 years. And then you people want to come here and want to defend Saturday AM with things you don't even know about. I brought the receipts. I showed you Fred convinced white manga to go with the DI route. It was Fred. White manga didn't want to do what he has done now. Fred made him do it. As to why he listened, I guess White's an idiot. He's a little boy. No pappy at home. Right? Fred came in, swindled his ass. And here we are today. Here we are today. This is what happens when you try to chase the mainstream, the general market and whatnot. You go too far, you go insane, and you become a liar. I'm not going to the mainstream anymore. I'm going where the returns have been coming in, which is my audience. Which is my audience. And now if I want to increase my audience, it means I have to bring more value. I have to express my ideas differently that can make people curious. It's like, I didn't like how he was saying things or how he was delivering things, but the way he's delivering it now has a bit more entertainment value. There's something different about it. I want to invest. That's how you grow an audience. You look at Other people, how are they growing their audience? What are they using? What is their delivery method and whatnot? And you adapt. You adopt those ideas to yourself. All these years, I told y'all last year, something is coming in February. It came. It's the website right here. Then I said, something is coming near the end of March. You're going to see it. That's me consistently trying to provide more value and legitimacy to the Koffee brand, to the MANAA brand. It cannot just be all talk. I got my books, I got my website, and I'm bringing something else. I've made every right decision that I possibly could. And just because I didn't make $10 billion, neither have you, those who will accuse me. You can clown me and say, bro, you're still in the hut. All right, you're still in the basement. Well, bro, you got 5 books, yada, 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 but you're still in the hut. Okay, all right. White Manga got 5 books, and he's still where he is. You got no books, and you still where you are. Unless you got the amount of books I got, you got a website of your own too, you're making impressive returns, you can't tell me shit. Unless you're paying artists, right? You're paying people, you can shut the fuck up. I'm paying people. And you can say $10 is not enough. All right, go to Voice Me so they don't pay you at all. Go to Manga Plus creators so they don't pay you at all. Go to Global Comix so they can pay you 30 cents for every 1,000 views. Go on, go. Go. Go, bro. No, nobody can tell me shit. You can't tell me nothing, bro. You can't tell me nothing. All right? It didn't have to be this way, but whatever. If Wavy's gonna keep using MANAA, even though I'm out of it, it's not gonna look good. But all right, who cares what I say, right? All right, man, keep doing it. I can't stop you. You kept reminding me that you can't stop me. You can't do anything. You stuck the way you are. You can't control anything. And everybody will say, because you said those words, you were plotting this all along. You were waiting for the right time to take everything from me because you felt I was powerless to do anything about it. You think I'm powerless to do something about it. It's fine. You can believe that, bro. You can believe that. But this is the real world we live in, everybody. Be a witness to this moment. Be a witness that you can be cool with somebody for so long, you have one little disagreement, and there is no compromise, right? There is no compromise. Instead, you're called a dictator, right? You're called a dictator. Yeah, whatever, man, whatever. It is what it is. Koffee Comix will still do what Koffee Comix does. I've just been under the weather for a couple of weeks. But as soon as that little package of mine comes in a couple of weeks, oh, things are going to be different. Things are going to be more fun, right? We all want to have fun. We all want to feel better. And we all want to be productive, right? I'm hosting a contest right now. I'm going to pay people $100, whoever wins. I'm paying people. I paid people last year, the guy who won the contest last year. I don't want to hear nothing. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. Okay? So if people want to still accuse me of being a dictator and not doing anything and still being in the same place, so the fuck are you? But you're in a worse spot because you ain't making no returns. Clearly, whatever I'm making, I can reinvest it and I can pay people with it. Even though I'm in the damn jungle. The hell is wrong with you people? Gonna demonize Seiji the way he's moving, but he making the money. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. But let everybody do what they want. The world is currently in a free fall. There are no set guarantees anymore. The world is under free fall and the corporations are subverted and compromised. You cannot have a foundation that is 1 billion% one-dimensional. You're going to lose. You have to be able to adapt to changing markets. That's how it is. That's how it is. If you want to stay stone cold the same, well, let's see what happens. I have to adapt, and so I am. That's it for now.